My name is Jessica Hammond, or you may know me as Brutal.Doodles. I'm an artist from Sioux City. Both a musical artist and like a painter or visual artist.
So let's start with the music spot. What do you do music-wise?
Well, I've been playing guitar since I was 13 years old, and I went to school for audio engineering. So ever since high school, I've been really involved in like the local music scene.
Oh wow.
Right now, I'm currently playing in a band called Fall of Kings, and I'm playing bass, which is like a new thing for me. But I've been in the band for like 2 years.
Are you guys gonna be at the Battle of the Bands?
No, we have. Our next show is the Four Winds Festival at the Marquee.
Oh yeah? So, y'all go check her out.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And how do you feel performing? Is that like a whole thrill? Is that like...
Yeah, I love performing.
Really?
I've been doing like musical theater and stuff since I was a little kid, so it was like a natural transition into like being in bands. Well, my first real performances, like playing guitar, were at the West High Talent Show.
Oh, wow.
When I was in high school, and me and my friends would get up on stage and play, and it was fun. It was cool. We got like second place one year.
Oh, I got first.
Yeah. Well, I've always been into drawing. Like all throughout high school and college, I would just like scribble in my notebook all through class.
Yeah.
And
you're the one that draws on their homework, huh?
Yeah,
okay,
that was me. And so I've always been an artist, and I always really loved art class, but I never really did any painting outside of art class until I met my friend Kitty, who I was also in a band with for a while. We haven't gotten together since the pandemic, but we were in a band called Brainwreck. But we would paint in her backyard, and she would let me use her paints, and then eventually I started buying my own paint, and then eventually the next summer, which would have been 2018, we started selling our artwork together, and it's kind of just evolved from there. Well, for a couple summers, like, we would just go around to different events and sell stuff, and it wasn't, well, so I've always been like doing commissions here and there for the last couple years, but when the pandemic hit and I lost all my hours at the coffee shop I was working at, I just started like really focusing on my artwork, and I ended up being able to make about the same amount of money doing it. So then I was like, well, I'm just gonna not go back to a regular job. The main thing that has been making me money is painting murals, which like got kick-started when the pandemic hit, really.
How'd you go about that? Get your first day for that?
Well, my first mural was for the Alley Art Festival in 2019, and my friend Kitty and I did a collab in the alley, and that was my first mural, but that wasn't a paid thing, that was just like for fun.
Yeah.
And so then fast forward to like April 2020, we're deep in quarantine, and like someone hit me up to do a mural. So I started with that first mural, and really ever since then it hasn't stopped. I mean, but it takes a lot of prep, and it's a lot of hard work, like, carrying ladders and toolboxes and that stuff around town, and then like being out in the weather, whatever it's doing, climbing up and down ladders all day. Like, it's hard work, but I think that's why I really like it.
Yeah. That hard work gets you like some motivation, huh?
Yeah. I like being outside, and I like doing different stuff every day, so.
So I see that you're in a whole new studio here. How'd you go about getting that?
Well, Amy and Matt Thompson were running this gallery in the Ho-Chunk building called Art Sucks Gallery. And they've been there for like a year or two, I think. And they bought this building at the end of 2020. And so a bunch of the artists from that gallery moved over to this building, and then they also asked new people if they wanted to be a part of it. So Amy Thompson asked me if I wanted to rent a studio here, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Especially once I saw the building.
What made it about the building that you're like definitely?
Well, like compared to the Ho-Chunk building, like The Ho Chunk is very nice and fancy and clean cut and like corporate looking, whereas this building is like really old and historic. I kind of evolved my style at the end of 2020, so I've been doing this kind of alien space style for like a year now, and at one point I just like made a list of a bunch of things I like, you know, and so I just draw stuff that I like.
Okay.
And aliens are fun.
What is it about aliens that make you so interested?
Well, because you can make them look weird. Like, they don't have to all look the same. They don't have to look like you would expect. They don't have to have any certain color of skin or hair or eyes, and they don't have to have human proportions. So it just kind of felt like it was free and loose.
Do you cater to the person that's purchasing the artwork, or is it more of like, I'm gonna make whatever I make, and if you like it, you know?
Well, it's been kind of a trial and error thing, because for a while I was just accepting any commission. I'm really happy with what I've been able to make, like in the last year especially. The cool thing I've noticed about the style I've landed on now is that it's kind of like a combination of everything that I was always doing. Because like in high school I was really into geometric art and doing like weird trippy shapes and stuff. And then last year I got really into cartoons, and then I kind of found my own cartoon style, and I started adding like the shapes back in. So like I feel like everything I've ever done is kind of like combining now. So whatever it evolves into in the future is just gonna be more of that. A lot of times, like, the way I find stuff out is just like experimenting, like with no expectations, just like throw paint at a wall, like whatever. And then usually it's when I don't care and I'm not trying that hard, when I find like a new way to do things that I can utilize in different ways. I think like depending on what mood I'm in, it reflects in the artwork.
Is there any artists that you look up to around here, or any like big names that you look up to that like influence your art?
Well, the big mural guy in town, his name is Paul Chelstad, and I really look up to him like as a local artist. On YouTube, I really look up to this artist named 1000. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about? Yeah. So like he's the one who inspired me to want to make my own YouTube videos and like film my adventures in painting.
Okay. See, 1000, I've been following since he was a small channel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember like listening to him when he would like play YouTubers' music on his stuff, because he would just like try to incorporate so much stuff into like his YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's how he got like a good following, because he was like bringing other people into art, you know?
Like collaboration.
Yeah, and like I think with his art, it's exactly how yours is, kind of, where it's like, however I want to draw this, I'm gonna draw it, and it's gonna look like my character, you know? It's gonna like represent you. So I think you do have a little like, I see it now, you know? Like,
Yeah. Well, I actually took an art class online of his like last year, like last August, so exactly a year ago.
Oh wow.
And that's kind of what like launched me into finding my own style and all that. So.
Yeah. Oh wow. And have you done any other classes besides that? Like.
No, but I've been thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. And what do you expect from going forward in your whole life, at least? Like, do you are you just going with the flow at this point? Is it just like off the cuff and like, let's see what happens?
Yeah, right now I'm kind of just riding the wave. Like in the last year, like everything has blown up, and I'm just really curious and excited to see where I am in like 5 or 10 years. But I really think we can do a lot here just to make Sioux City cooler.
Well, speaking of that, what could make Sioux City cooler in your eyes?
Well, Sioux City's really embracing like street art and public artwork lately, which is why I'm so busy with murals.
Right.
Because people who own a building see a cool mural pop up and they want one on their wall, and like I think there's a shift around here, because people used to always look at it like vandalism. Like any kind of art on a wall was immediately vandalism. But I think people are starting to change their minds about that now, which is cool.
Changing up the culture in Sioux City.
Mm-hmm.
And any last comments that you got for the people out here watching you? any like little artists out there trying to figure out their style, then they watch you, you know, because how you said that you look up to the other guy that does the murals. I'm pretty sure there's people that are watching your murals and watching it as they go by, and they're like, I want to do that one day, you know?
Yeah. Well, my biggest piece of advice is like draw every day.
Yeah.
Even if it's only like 10 minutes that you can draw before bed or like right when you wake up, like if you draw every day, you will get better no matter what. And the more you draw, the easier it will be to find your own style. So like that's kind of what I try to do in my own practice, like just draw in a sketchbook every day. And I think like if you want to do it, you just gotta make the art, put it out there, and people will notice eventually.
I like that. Jessica 2021.
Chill.
Love it. Hell yeah.
Cool.
And that's a wrap.